Do you want me to stand right here?
Well, we're in that area.
Okay. Hi, everybody. How are we doing tonight? So it was December 22nd, 1993. I was freshly 16. Failed my license once already. I am not good at parallel parking. And I was in French class. And I was failing French class like so miserably. Like it wasn't even funny. Maybe I didn't know my verbs, but I'm probably sure I just didn't have that like je ne sais quoi, you know? So I'm failing French class, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about who I'm gonna take to my soft hop, you know, normal 16-year-old stuff, when my brother and his guidance counselor come knocking at the classroom door. And the guidance counselor sticks her head, and she says, "I need to speak with Nick immediately." So I'm like, uh-oh, I have no idea what I did. So I got in the hallway, and she says to me, she goes, "Your mother's sick, we need to leave." And I was like, okay, she's sick, but how sick? And she didn't say anything. Now, lucky for us, our high school was located right next to the hospital. So as we're walking there, and she has like this sense of urgency, I could tell that she wasn't telling me the full story. Like she wasn't giving me all the information that I probably should have needed. And as we're walking, we get to the hospital. It's me, my brother, and his guidance counselor. And I see my dad. Now, my dad works like so far away from where we grew up. And I'm thinking, how the hell did my dad get here so quick? And I look at him and he goes, "Look, your mother's not breathing. I don't know what's going on." So he comes, takes me and my brother, the guidance counselor leaves, and we go back into the emergency room. And just as I walk in, they pronounce my mother dead. So 10 minutes, I know. So 10 minutes before, I'm a sophomore in high school worrying about who I'm gonna take to the dance and why I'm failing French so bad, to literally watching a doctor pronounce my mother dead. So I didn't know what to do, so I just ran. I ran out of the hospital, and luckily for me, behind the hospital was my house. There was a park and then my house. So I run through the park, and actually, to be quite honest with you, I was like one of those guys who was into hip hop, so my pants were like down to here. So I was probably running more like this. And I remember my shoe got untied, and I tripped and fell right before there was this bridge across the creek. And my first thought was, God, you're an asshole. And then my second thought was, my life is never gonna be the same. Like everything is gonna change from this point forward. Once I cross this bridge, once I leave all that behind, I'm not gonna care about who I'm gonna take to the dance or whether I'm failing French or not. Didn't really matter. So I proceeded to walk home, and I did what anybody would do during a crisis. I took a 3-hour nap. 3-hour nap, because that's how I handle things. And when I awoke to a bunch of people like screaming and yelling and laughing. I was like, oh, we're Irish, so any death is an excuse for a party. So I go downstairs, and it's a bunch of drunk people, be they drunk from alcohol or drunk from their own sense of mortality, because my mother was only 45, and everyone was in their mid-40s. So everybody's kind of looking at me like, everyone is stunned, confused, not knowing what to say, and we lived in one of these beautiful single Tudor homes, and it had like a wraparound. So I kind of felt like I was on this like weird merry-go-round as I'm walking around my house talking to my relatives, and they all just kept repeating the same thing. "I'm sorry for your loss. If there's anything I can do, let me know." So after about like an hour of this, I was like, I'm feeling claustrophobic. I need to get out of this house now. So at this time, it's dark. It's about 7 o'clock. I go outside, and just as I walk outside, I see all of my friends walking up. Like 20, 30 of them. And if you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, it was kind of like when the elves show up at Rohan. I was like, oh, this is great. Like, there's hope. And my friend walked up, my friend Lorraine, sweetest girl, and she hugged me, and she looked me in my eyes, and she goes, "Nick, I'm so sorry for your loss. If there's anything I can do, let me know." And I looked at her, and I was like, well, you could blow me. I know, right? But she laughed, and all of my friends laughed, because it was so heavy. The weight of the situation was so heavy that none of us 16, 17, and 8-year-olds knew how to handle it. And then my friend turned to me and goes, "You're gonna be fine." And it was in that moment that I realized I was going to be fine. I had a group of friends who loved me and cared for me. I had a bunch of family and friends. And even though this was the worst day of my life, it made me realize just how lucky of a human being I was. Thank you very much.
Nick, everybody.